When thinking of social identities, the four that come to mind are culture, race, gender, and religion. The most important identities to me is culture because it's interesting to me to see the different traditions and cultures that people practice within their families and what's brought to different countries and things like that. Gender is the least important to me because personally I don't understand what the big hype and of caring everyone what everyone's gender is. I personally think that culture is not very important in people's eyes in our society today at large. I think people overlook it and don't really care about what other people's culture is, and they have a tendency to overlook it and just kind of be biased or like almost be like rude about different and not respect people's different cultures. And I also think that people get really upset about sexism or genders, and I don't think it's necessary. I think that if a girl wants to, do a certain job, then they should be able to, and if a man wants to do a certain job, then he should be able to. It shouldn't be based on their gender. In my classroom, culture will be explored by me so that I can know where everyone comes from, what everyone practices, and know what modifications I need to make or if any modifications need to be made. It doesn't matter to me, and I also think that race will kind of be played in that because different races practice different cultures, and I think it's important as a teacher to know what those are of your students. Boys and girls will not be played against each other, so gender will not be played against each other because I think it's important that everyone knows that they're equal whether they are a boy or a girl, and students will be able to learn about the different religions of others in different countries in that sense. I think that within the four social identities that I picked, there are some biases, especially in gender. I think that the bias towards men is a lot different than the bias towards women, especially when it comes to companies and businesses, with men having the same degree as a woman and getting paid more money in certain areas and not all cases. And I also think people are biased towards certain religions. People will go through the same religion or different religions and they're stuck in their ways and they're kind of only biased towards what they know and don't give another religion a chance. In my opinion, pedagogy is a teaching style. It's the way that someone teaches and the way that someone puts forth their teaching within their classroom. If I had to describe my pedagogy or my teaching philosophy in 5 words, I would make sure that it's important that the students have social interaction or interacting with each other so that they can scaffold off of their peers and they can learn off of each other, and make it important to just really scaffold off of each other. Really provide a hands-on environment so that the students are working through doing and they're learning through doing, because I truly believe that students learn through their experiences. Really create a higher level thinking environment so that students are always like challenging what they know and challenging and just growing off of what they already do know. Making an interactive environment within my classroom so that students can be comfortable and know to be able to go to others so that they can have that interaction based off of their peers. And lastly, to have a community classroom, really build a community with my own classroom so that students aren't scared to come to me and they feel that it's a safe place to be so that I can create lifelong learners. Schooling versus educating. I think schooling is just the process of going to school, sitting there, listening, but not necessarily retaining. And educating is really being willing to learn and wanting to expand your knowledge and having the drive to go out and learn more and understand more. Having a theory before planning a lesson or while planning a lesson is so important because it really sets forth and sets the tone of how you're going to create your lesson and what you're going to do in your lesson. If you have a social interaction learning series, and you know that within your lesson you need to have interaction. And I really think that having that learning theory is so important because it does help create the lesson and put the drive in whatever needs to be done. The different levels of blooms is important because it scaffolds the children's learning, and knowledge is just memory. You just memorize facts, or you just know facts, and there's not really much to it. That's the most basic one. Whereas comprehension is really being able to understand the facts and organize them and comparing them and interpreting them. You're doing a lot more with just your knowledge than just your knowledge. And then once you go up a level to application, this is where you're really able to break it down and put them into new situations, and you can apply them in different situations, and that really shows that you do comprehend them. And once you get down application, then you can analyze them, and this is the analysis level of blooms, where you examine and break information into certain parts, and you identify different things, and then you can just really break them down. And then you have synthesis, which is where you can compile different information from different pieces and put them together. And it's different ways to combine them in different new patterns and stuff like that. And then lastly is evaluation, and this is where you're able to present or defend your opinions off of certain things, and it really helps validity and like the quality of your own work.